Hi, welcome to the February edition of Spotlight on Bennington. I'm John Shannahan, the director of the Better Bennington Corporation, and as we promised, we're going to start bringing you to some behind-the-scenes places in Bennington that hopefully you've seen already, but if not, we're going to take you through a tour of one of the special places in Bennington. And I have Joyce Hall here, who is the manager
of the retail store.
Of Bennington Potters.
Correct.
Joyce,
welcome, John.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And Joyce is going to take us through the process of making...
Yes, and I'm going to include everybody giving their own little itinerary of what they do, because it's very important to know what the process is of each one of these individuals working on our piece of pottery that goes from start to finish. We're starting over here where Tom is pressing our large mixing bowl. And as you can see, he has increments of pottery, increments of clay that presses the bowl. This is a pressing process. This is a large press. We have other presses because this is a large piece of pottery.
Yep. So that starts off with the log of clay, and then he cuts it into the portion to make the bowl.
Yes.
Puts it into the machine. And this is the first step in the process?
This is the first press. Well, actually it isn't, because the clay has to be formed into these logs that are pugs that he can cut those increments of clay. So it starts with really the clay being formed into a roll that's called a pug that he can cut his increments up.
Oh, so you make that also? You shape it into the log for, I'm calling it a log.
You see, we have waste here, which we reshape. We do not waste anything that we utilize everything we can, so we're trying to make it as simple as we can.
And like Joyce was saying, we were talking before we went on camera that they reuse as much product as possible so that nothing gets wasted. And we're kind of concerned that you can hear us because the machinery is loud, so I'm yelling into the microphone here.
Also, I think it should be noted that this particular pottery was started in 1948, so we're not novice at this. There's been a lot of trial and error over the years to make a better and better product. So we are learning all along every day of newer ways also to make our product better, make it more green, make it more, utilizing more of what we have. And I think it's been working. We work very hard at trying to continue to give you a great product at a very reasonable cost.
Well, you're world famous, so you must be doing something right, Joyce. Now, like your trigger mugs, everybody knows those, and they've been around for a long time. I think we all have our collection of the trigger mugs. But how often do you create a new product, like a new design, and do something?
Well, we do new colorations, we do new product, and we also bring back. We don't really discontinue anything. It's always subject to perhaps bringing back at one time or another. So we're always, right now, I really feel that we have some excellent designs that we could bring back that are just so wonderful that we should not, disregard them. Because after all, David Gill worked very hard and for many years to design a really great line of pottery.
Collected. Oh, good. Well, can you take us to the next step now after the press?
I'm going to take you over to Eva, who does finishing.
We're over in the finishing section? Finishing. Okay, that's what we are. And I'm here with Eva Gruesendorf. And Eva, thanks for letting me talk to you while you're doing some work here. But first off, Eva, how long have you been doing this?
I've been working here 40 years.
40 years. Hopefully you can hear us because it's just as loud over here. Yeah. What are you doing to the product on this part?
It's called finishing. Get you one here with as it comes off the press. Sometimes it has cracks in the die over there, so it has a line on it. And every piece has this line where the two pieces of the press come together.
So what do you use? What are you, like a scrubbers and scrapers?
It's called a kidney tool or a blade or knives.
And you scrape off the irregularity and then
take the lines off, and then we use a lot of this because it smooths it out nice. And then we have to sponge it.
So it's all done by hand. There's nothing that fixes it up.
Well, we do have chumware, but that's for plates and bowls that are small that can sit on there.
Yep, and it spins them.
Yep.
And while you do that.
Yep, same process. When you use the chum and a blade to trim them off, and the water to smooth them out, and it goes a lot faster if you have some.
Good. And how much time do you normally spend on each product as it's going through?
Depends on the size.
Like this one here,
Yeah.
how much finishing does it require? Depends on how good of a job he does over there.
Yeah. I was saying probably 5 minutes at least, because I'm not hurrying. If I was hurrying, I could do it fast.
Joyce didn't hear that. You mean you're doing a great job on it, and they're all perfect. All right, well, thanks, Eva, very much. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're over in glazing, right? And I'm here with Karen Wellspeak. And first of all, Karen, how long have you been here?
I've been here for 21 years.
God, there's not much turnover at the Bennington Potters. No wonder it's such a good product. Karen, now you are doing what's called glazing?
Yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dip and slush it. It's a procedure that we do that leaves no fingerprints on it. I clean my cup up, and then it's usually for just cups, small items. I'll blow the dust off it. I have put it on my vacuum, which is a little bit loud, and I'll dip it in. When I pull it back up, I step on my pedal, and that'll force glaze onto the inside, and it's all done in one step. It'll dry very quickly. You'll be able to see it. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to step over here out of the way if that's okay.
Okay, I'm going to turn my vacuum on, which is a little bit loud.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we're done talking for a few seconds. What's that mixture you have there?
This is my Element Green Glaze. It's already been mixtured for me, so I don't have to play with it. But my supervisor made sure that it was the correct thickness so that when I dip this in, it will be the proper thickness that we need for the cup.
Okay. And is that mixture that's made right here as well?
Yes, it is. We do have all our own formulas, so we can make sure it's all correctly applied to each piece.
Fantastic.
So, and we have to stir each piece to make sure that each cup is uniformly, because if it settles out, that the next cup might not be quite the same shade.
Yep.
You know, so you want to make sure it's incorporated.
Okay.
So, we have different size rubbers depending on the size of the bottom of the cup, because, you know, depending on that, you want to make sure it's going to fit properly. And this is comparable to what you'd see at a dentist's office. It's not a very strong vacuum. I'll blow my dust off. And you'll be able to see how quickly that absorbs in. It's not really drying, it's absorbing into the piece. That way it becomes one. I'll tip it at an angle, so instead of having a million drip marks all the way around the bottom, I'll have one point that has the majority of the drip marks on it.
Oh yeah, you can see it drying already.
Yeah.
And I noticed the way you dipped that in, you went right to the bottom lip. Not your first time doing it, huh?
Oh, right, yeah, I've been doing it for a while, yeah. And it's just that simple. You know.
So you can already touch it right immediately afterward.
Yes, it absorbs in very quickly. You know, I try to only tamp one part of it because it does leave a bit of a mark. We look them over, make sure they look good. You know, for some reason, if there's something we don't like, we can fix it now. Makes it a little simpler than having it fired and then having them have to play with it afterwards. So, just a very simple little...
So it missed one little spot, so you took a little stick and filled it right in.
Exactly. You know, I mean, quality is what makes us who we are. So without me paying attention to the quality, it's not going to follow through.
Good for you.
So
is that the final step in your process in this area?
in this area. From here, it'll go down to the burlapping area, and they'll take and make sure that the bottom has nothing on the bottom, and then they'll load it into the kiln after that. So it has one more step before it goes on to the kiln.
Well, thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. Now you have, that is the trigger mug that I was talking about earlier.
That is the trigger mug.
Is that a little larger size than some of the trigger mugs? I think mine are
Actually,
smaller.
Everything shrinks approximately 10%.
Oh.
Every single thing that goes onto our kiln. And I'm sure that our kiln operator can explain that. He's very good at explaining how that process works.
Fantastic.
But everything does have a, and they equate that in when they formulate a piece. That way, you know, they'll estimate 10% larger than what we want the final product to be when they do formulate a thing. That way they can make sure it's correct.
Oh, fantastic.
So.
Well, thanks again, Karen. So now we're off to what department did you say?
The burlapping department.
Burlapping. Okay.
that's where
Heading over to burlapping. Stopping next at the glazing department, and I'm here with Jenny Stone. And Jenny, how long have you been at Bennington Potters?
22 years.
22. Okay, so far we have 40 years, 21 years, and 22 years. Who's the newcomer?
There's
The owners? It's amazing how long everybody's been
There's
here.
a guy down in Castware. There's a guy down in Castware who's been here since just before Christmas.
All right, well, he's the new guy. So now glazing. Can you show us what you're doing and explain the process?
Basically what I'm doing is I'm putting the undercoat for the Morning Glory Blue on.
What's the undercoat do?
The undercoat basically covers the whole piece so that when the speckle goes on, there's another color right underneath it.
Oh, that's the bottom color. So
This is our base, the
light
base color.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
This is our Morning Glory Blue.
right.
And I'm doing the white color.
All right.
Later on, it'll get the blue put on.
Okay. Fantastic. Now, what kind of piece are you doing right now?
It's a bread pan.
That's a bread pan? Now, that's one of the designs that you create right here, too.
Yes.
Fantastic. It also dries right away.
Yes, it dries right away.
Okay. Thank you, Jenny, very much. And where does it go? Where would we go after this step?
After this step, I set it over on the other side, and then somebody else will take it into the other booth on the opposite side of me, and then they'll put the speckle coat on.
The blue, the morning.
Yes, the Morning Glory Blue. And basically, it's just using the same gun. Just they take this coat cover off, crank down the air pressure, and it comes out as a splatter.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome.
The next stop is Burlapping, and I'm here with Julia Butkis. And Julia, how long have you been with Bennington Potters?
I started in 1987. I went away for 4 years in 1999, and I came back after David died to help carry on his work. And
Good for you.
And I've been here ever since.
Excellent.
And very happy to be here.
Great. Jenny's back over here helping us because when we came over to this section, it wasn't currently in operation, so everybody's jumping in and helping us do a demonstration. So thanks for joining us over here. And again, if you could just explain to us the steps that you're going through.
Basically what I'm doing is, since every piece we get ends up with a little bit of glaze on the bottom, we need to remove the glaze off the bottom so that it doesn't stick to the kiln.
And the glaze is the color?
And the glaze is basically this color.
Okay.
And of course it's going to be dusty since...
We haven't run it for a while.
No, we haven't opened up the outside front. We didn't open that. There. And that just blew off any excess glaze.
And why don't you want glaze on the bottom?
So it won't stick to the kiln. Because
okay.
each piece is set directly on the kiln shelf. We don't use any little prong things.
Nothing on the bottom.
Right, so we
Okay.
can't have anything on there at all.
So every product you make, that is to clean off the bottoms, to make sure everything's off the bottom?
Yes.
All right, and that's called
Burlapping.
burlapping. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're over here now near the kiln, which is the final stage of the production here, and I'm here with Chris Defresne. First of all, Chris, how long have you been with Bennington Potters?
11 years now.
11 years. And what do you do down here? What's your job description?
Well, my main job is the kiln operator. The kiln operator does the grading, the loading of the kiln, and plus the firing of the kiln.
In firing. And you said this area is called, or this thing is called the...
This is what we call the kiln cart. The kiln cart's on a trolley system. It has wheels. Now, once it's fully loaded, I'm going to pull it inside of our kiln.
All right, when you say it's on a track, it looks like train tracks. This thing is gigantic. I don't know if it's coming through on TV as big as it is, but it looks like a small train car.
And basically inside right now is the identical cart you see here being fired.
All right.
Now, it's going to take me 7 hours to fire this kiln, but 16 to cool it down.
And you cool it down inside the kiln?
Right. Yeah.
In the time that you're firing and cooling, you're reloading the next cart.
Correct. Right. I'm grading and reloading. When I'm going to, by the end of today, this is going to be all graded out for quality. and I'm going to reload it back up with where that hasn't been fired yet for tomorrow's firing.
And these have already gone through?
They've already gone through, yep.
So these are the finished products, and you have
finished product.
All right.
Yeah.
And what is that?
What is what?
What's this piece?
That is it's a tumbler, they call it.
I was gonna say it looks like my trigger mug without the handles.
Exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So all of these products come to you. Everything's done except the firing.
Right. Right. Everything's all set to go, and all I have to do is just load it back on. Yeah.
And Chris, you said you give tours.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Yeah.
Explain what someone couldn't.
Well, if somebody comes in through the doors and they're interested in the potteries, the lady down back will bring them through the whole plant and explain to them our process of what we do. Yeah.
Now I know at the Welcome Center we send a lot of people over here because people ask about the tours.
Right.
Is there a certain time that if people are watching would like to come and see this?
Well, yeah, the best time to come is anywhere between 10 and 2. 2 o'clock is their lunch break.
Okay.
From 2 to 2:30ish.
All right.
And then of course we leave here at 5:30.
Yeah. So around 10 o'clock would be a good time for somebody to stop and you could take them around the building.
Right. Well, basically what before I pull this kiln cart in, I place a set of these cones right here.
This is the kiln.
This is the kiln. That is the kiln cart.
Okay.
Now before I pull that kiln cart in, placed in a spot where I can view them through this hole right here, I'm going to place a set of these. This right here is the most important part about firing kilns. This is what is called a pyrometric ceramic cone. These will actually measure time and temperature inside of my kiln. Now when I first start out, they look like these right here. Okay? There's 3 of them, a 5, 6, and a 7. The 5 is made the weakest. So as that kiln heats up, they're going to slowly start to fall over. The first one to go is a 5. The second one to go is a 6. So basically it's my wake-up call, and it's going to give me these 2 chances to make sure I get this one right, number 7. Now when 7 finally touches down, I know I'm at 2200 degrees, and it's time to shut this kiln down.
And that's after everything's in there?
Yep.
And you just watch that and you see when they start to melt?
Right.
And where do you leave it? Right where it is, or you...
No, right inside here.
Okay.
Placed on that kiln cart before I pull it in.
Okay.
Okay? And a spot where I can view them through this hole right here.
Oh, and you just watch it through?
Right. You can look it in right now and see the set of cones.
Yeah, I'm going to peek right in.
Yep, don't get too close though.
Oh yeah.
In there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's telling you see 1, 2, 3, and you're done.
Right. And there's no automatic shut off of this kiln. I have to shut it off myself.
Yep.
I have to keep an eye on to it. When number 7 starts to touch down, I'm there all the time looking at it, waiting for that 7 to touch down. When it touches down, I gotta go and push that button and shut this kiln down myself. And if I don't, it continues to get hot and heats up, and then it goes beyond the 2200 degrees, and our clay body doesn't like anything beyond 2200 degrees, and it starts to destroy the kiln. The wear inside the kiln, excuse me.
Average time was how many hours?
7 hours to fire it and 16 to cool it down. It's going to actually take longer to cool this kiln back down before I can open those doors up.
So you can really put like maybe 1 cart a day?
1 cart a day.
Oh, that's what it is?
Right, yeah. Our average kiln runs anywhere from 650 to 700 pieces on a kiln cart. And of course, like I said, at 2200 degrees when I shut it down, it's going to stay inside the kiln and be cooled down overnight. 2200 degrees, I'm not going to open that door up.
Right. Of course not.
Right.
Chris, thank you very much. That's the final stage of all the production here at Bennington Potters. Chris, thank you very much. Remember now, Chris offered if you'd like to get a tour of the production facility, we only got to show you or give you some pictures of some of the areas here. It's an amazing place. It's extremely interesting, and the place is gigantic.
They're quite green here, you realize. And we have a unique connection with the John.
So back when these kilns were first built, they were lined with a brick sort of like this right here. But of course with the brick, it wasn't heat efficient. It took a lot longer for it to heat up, a lot longer for it to cool down. There was a lot of leakage, so it was losing a lot of heat. Now back in the 80s, a gentleman named Dr. Ferris invented this ceramic blanket. It's made from clay. And it's different types of clay bodies woven together, creating a blanket. It's very heat repellent. Our kilns are lined with it. There's 8 inches of fiber that holds that 2200 degrees inside. It's very heat repellent. It was actually made to actually repel heat. It won't absorb it. I could sit here all day long, and this blowtorch will not get hot enough to penetrate this blanket and burn my hand. This stuff is just crazy heat repellent.
So it's 2200 degrees inside the kiln,
2200 degrees inside the kiln, and you can put your hands on the side of that kiln right there. Yeah. I mean, this is only like a 1/4 inch thick, and this blowtorch cannot get hot enough to burn my hand. You can see it going through there. You dare to touch it?
You hold it inside.
Yeah. Totally amazing stuff.
You can see the glow as it's losing the glow.
And it knocked our kiln firing back to 7 hours.
And now, how long ago did you install that? Back in the 80s?
The original lining here, to my understanding, was back in the 80s.
80s, yeah, when Ferris.
Yeah. When Dr. Ferris came in and introduced it to David Gill, and like I said, it was lined with this stuff right here, and there was a lot of leakage. And they said when you come in here at night, when he was firing at night, you can see this whole place glowing in here.
Oh, from that thing. Oh, that
right.
Now, Chris, I'm going to get a little closer because you got the mic, but we didn't start off saying we are standing in front of one of the kilns with the doors open.
Right.
And this is called your short kiln.
Right.
The long one we showed you earlier was something was being fired at the time. This one currently not being used, which is why we're inside of it.
Right.
Again, you have another cart here, and it wheels in like a train. And then you shut the side doors.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a very interesting. Well, that was the production part of the items that Bennington Pottery creates. And Joyce, we did skip a few things in the factory just because you didn't have them going on. One in particular is the design department and the art department, where a lot of those are.
You did meet Julia. You did meet Julia, but she was not in operation.
Right. She took us over to Burlapping, but that wasn't her department.
Yes, correct. You're in the retail right now. One of our really nice products that we didn't see in operation today is our Equinox pottery, which is hand painted. This is our lemonade pitcher. Each one of these pieces is hand painted and signed by the person who paints it. So it's a true piece of art pottery. And I think right there you have
KW.
Karen Wellspeak, who you met.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of our special pieces, which we really take great pride in, and it's just absolutely magnificent, as well as all of our designs. But this has got a real great look. It's a special, very special thing. We hope in the future to do more of it, of art pieces, but it takes a lot of time and labor to achieve all this wonderful design. This is done on a red clay body also, which gives it that nice lustrous look and all.
The red clay body, that was the first piece we saw. Was that red clay? When the bowls?
That was stoneware. I'll show you the difference right now.
And
so
before
that you
we
get an
do,
idea.
one more thing that I had forgot to mention and Joyce had brought up. You would
Stone. See, that shows you the difference. Stone.
That stone. All right.
And this is the red body.
Oh, yeah. What's the difference between the two types of clays?
Well, it gives you a different coloration. You know.
The finished product color.
Finished product.
And you had mentioned...
It's a little, working with the red sometimes is a little more difficult than doing the stone, but the ultimate end's the same, is fired the same way.
Yep.
And the product is both oven-worthy, microwavable, dishwasher.
Do they fire at the same temp too? You can put them on
They
the same thing.
They do. Oh, there's a real quality of knowledge of knowing where to fire and put your pieces too, because heat is distributed a little bit differently in the kiln. So that's part of the kiln person's knowledge, and also our production people that work on always trying to improve where they load the pieces for the best results.
And that's just comes from experience, knowing where it
Everything's
looks.
experience and hands-on. We have a totally amazing group that work together, come up with new ideas of what they realize could perhaps be corrected to make a much more efficient process. And it's fascinating to work with all of them. I can learn something every day from everybody out there, just in the process of knowing how to present and sell. And as you see, there's our lovely blue agate. And
before we get into the retail end, there was one thing I want to keep bringing up. We were talking earlier about how long a piece takes beginning to end, and you were you were saying it's a lot more complicated than that.
It is.
But
And we do
average,
do every process out there.
right, because there's all different processes.
I
But
would say from start to finish, well, if you want to really start to finish, it takes a long time to make your original design, make the mold, go on. I really, it would be very interesting for me to really be able to follow it through maybe in a time span. I can't really tell you, but it's a long time because you're making the design, the mold, the promo to put through, and then deciding how much everything of the labor
But once-
intensity of it is. So I'd say before you finish the piece, it would probably take you 10 days to
and that's
just
once
go
it's
from-
all designed and the mold
Yeah.
is made, just
to
beginning
get
to
it
end.
through all the process.
And about how many people actually hold the product before it ends up on the floor?
I would say if you really count about 17 hands.
No kidding,
Yeah.
for each piece.
For each piece. Yeah, and it would be, the process is pretty well the same for each piece in a way. But when it's larger, it takes a little longer.
Sure.
And, you're finishing, you can see as you were finishing a smaller piece. Although a very small piece can be very intricate when it has a handle and different things, so. Takes
Yeah, we didn't even see that, how you put the handles on the trigger mugs and all that, but
Well, you got a pretty good, you can come back again.
there we go. And we'd love to come back, because we really only saw about a fifth of the factory out there.
And as we mentioned, we give tours, and everybody in the factory is very knowledgeable and very gracious with our tours. We all enjoy having people come and visit and see how our product is made.
Well, it shows you give tours, because normally when we take the camera around behind the scenes, a lot of people are uncomfortable, but everybody out there looked like they've been through this many, many times.
They have.
shows.
And at a spur of the moment, too. They're not always knowing when somebody, people walk in, and it's so interesting to share our process with the public, because I think it's such a meaningful thing today.
Handmade, and especially handmade right here in Bennington.
And I want to just interject something, that our hours here, just so you'll know, because a lot of people call, we're here from 9:30 till 6, and people are working in the factory till about 5:30, and they come in at 9, and on that's weekdays. On Sunday, we're here from 10 until 5, and we always, even on weekends, usually have somebody doing something in the factory or working on something. We're a full week production
All right.
type of thing.
So Monday through Friday,
We're 9:30 to 6. On Sunday, we're open from 10 to 5.
fantastic.
So that everybody knows that we're open. We never shut the doors.
Good for you. And
We're
it's
always here,
And now
ready
that-
and waiting for whoever is
and you
interested.
are ready. This place is beautiful. We went into the back of the retail part of the operation.
On our, what we call our trigger mug wall and our mug wall, period. And it's a representation of all our glazes also. So when somebody's coming in that doesn't know what color they want, we usually send them back here to examine the colors so that they know what they
It's the whole
want to go
palette.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as John was saying to me a few minutes ago, that we are a multi-purpose place for buying. We have a bridal registry, we have our website, we have our catalog, and then we have our retail store. So we register people here for their bridal registry. They can buy any type of pottery, glassware. They can buy the table and the chairs. They can buy everything that goes along with setting a beautiful table. So we're we have like more than one store. We have the retail
Yeah,
store,
it's,
we have the website.
And you have
we
linens, and you have kitchenware, and the wooden products.
We try to buy from Vermont concerns as much as we can, and then American manufacturers. But of course, as everybody knows, there's not everything available.
Right.
So you do have to do some offshore buying.
Well, Joyce, because we're downtown, we ask people, we understand there's some products you can't get, but we just say, start locally. You'll like what
and
you
it's
see.
Important. We have a lot of good people in the area that make lots of nice products like the wood, and part of the charm of coming here is because we have a wonderful historic building too.
Right.
you know, you can't help but say this is a gorgeous old place.
What is the tall tower that's on the property?
This was originally a grain mill, grist mill, so of course the grain would come in and it filters down. The tables and things are still up there where how they did this process. As you go through, you can see the chutes where the bags were. And there's still names of people you would recognize, like Hearst and different people on the walls here that used to bring their corn and oats here to be milled. So this is what this was.
It's fantastic. You're right. The history of the building, plus the quality and the art craftsmanship that makes it. It is a great place to stop and tour this. Give yourself a couple of hours. Hopefully you'll get a tour of the factory. But if you come when you can't have access to the factory, the store itself, you could just spend hours looking around. It is packed with product, and everything is unique. And keep in mind that bridal registry. I asked Joyce to bring that up because every time I come into the store, I forget how many products you have. And you help with the design of stuff and put things together. And it's a great looking place with some great items in here.
We want to thank you, John, for coming here and visiting us today. It's been very entertaining.
It has been.
Yes.
Yep. So I hope you stay tuned. If not, this show plays a couple times this month, and you can also see it on YouTube. I'd like to thank Alicia Romac of Legacy Images of Vermont for taking us through. And we'll hope to see you next month. And make sure you make a stop at Bennington Pottery. Again, I'm here with Joyce Hall. Joyce, thank you very much for taking us through.
You're welcome.
It was
Our
a blast.
pleasure.
Same here.